Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our Women in Automation series. And today we are gonna see how to get started, your career started in automation. So thank you so much for taking your time and happy April. We are just starting a new month, and this is a very good skill set to add to yourself. For today, I'm Priya Estevez. I'm an RPA solution architect. I've got over a decade of experience in the IT industry, and I've been doing RPA for over 7 years now. And I've been a UiPath MVP. I've been awarded the most valuable professional for 5 years in a row. And I'm so excited to share my knowledge with the community and empower other women to also be a part of this UiPath community, which is so empowering because you get to learn about automation, all the different products, and also enable each other. So thank you so much for taking your time today and trying to learn about RPA. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to put it on the chat, and me and Diana will get back with the answers to you. Okay, so for today's learning objectives, we are going to see what is RPA and what RPA is not, because there are lots of myths around it. And we also want to know what are the benefits of using RPA, because RPA has been like a buzzword around the trend for a while now. So you need to know what are the benefits and what you could do with it. And what are the core components of UiPath platform? Because UiPath platform right now has a wide variety of products. So I'm going to show you what are the three main core products that you could use to build your first automation. And I'm going to show you like how to do like an install on your computer, how to set it up, and what are the different studio products that we have. And I'll show you a demo as well. So again, feel free to ask any questions, and there's no such thing as a silly question. So just feel free to post your questions in the chat. I don't think my keyboard's working. Okay, here we go. So the first thing we're gonna see is, okay, hope you can still see my screen. All right, so the first thing that we wanna know is what is RPA? And why this technology is useful, right? So RPA stands for Robotic Process Automation. This is nothing just like another software program, but this one is going to help mimic the human actions. So every time each of us interact with the computers, we do one of these three actions. We either use our keyboard, the mouse, or reading the computer screen. And using those tasks, like you accomplish like a certain list of tasks in your day-to-day activities. So the basic actions that we do are the keyboard, mouse, and the reading. What if a software program to mimic these actions and like take away that task so that you could focus on something else? So this is what RPA is. It's basically mimicking your actions that you interact with your computer. Again. And we need to know what RPA is not, because people think whenever we say robotic process automation, whenever they hear the word robotic, they think of like a humanoid robot, something that's standing right next to you in a physical form. But it is not. It's a software program on your computer. And remember that this is not a human replacement. So this is not going to be like replacing your jobs or anything. This is just your assistant that's going to help you build your processes. Okay. And this is not just another cost saving method. This is just a productivity, and like it also enables you with a lot of efficiency here. And here we will look at like some of the benefits of RPA. So the major advantages that we in the business get are the increased execution speed, because however fast the humans could type, the robot always beats us. I'll bet you with that. And there's always going to be 100% accuracy, because whenever we are typing or reading information, there's room for error, and there is a possibility there is like exceptions that could happen. But using the RPA, you don't have that level of error. You have the intense amount of accuracy because you're using the robots based on the rules that you set. And it's always easier to accomplish like any regulatory compliances, like any time of it, you get to schedule these rules, and it does it based on the rules that you set. And this reduces the cost of process execution. And also, it's very easier to scale. So once you build one process and you want like 100 robots to run instead of 100 employees, this is definitely going to help you free up that 100 employees to accomplish other tasks while you use your robots to accomplish the mundane task here. And here are some of the tasks that you could automate in a day to day basis. So, in everyday life, like each of us in a day job, like we'll have to log into a system. You're either using like any type of application, be it like Microsoft Office or SAP or ServiceNow or Jira or any interaction that you do, you're going to be like logging in, moving files and folders, or reading from your database. Mainly, we all deal with emails. So, like you either like sending emails, like downloading attachments, uploading to a different system. So you're some in one way or the other, you're interacting with multiple systems. So you're not just like tied to one application. So with RPA, you can interact with all the different applications at the same time, depending on the sequence that you set as well. And it's easier to scrape off information from any website or any tool that you're using. And if you do have like the backend APIs that you are interested in, you could still avoid using the UI and still use the APIs to connect to that system if that's established. And you can extract like data from documents, and there's a lot of AI tools that are currently available, AI models that are available, and the document understanding, which will help you like extract information from the documents, PDFs, and based on that it will send that data upstream into the upstream processes. So these are like a very easy simple task that you could automate, but you can think of like other tasks that you would do on a day-to-day basis for your processes. So, any questions so far? All right. Okay, so we're going to take a look at what's the core components that are available in the UiPath platform. Like I said, there are a wide variety of products that are available within UiPath itself. So, out of those wide range of products, I'm picking just three products for now to help you build your first automation. Okay, first we're going to look at Studio. So, Studio is something area where you design your workflows. So, think of it like your canvas where you're going to build your workflows first. So this is where you draw the blueprint, this is where you draw the workflows, and you visually see like how your automation looks like. So Studio, remember, Studio is where you build your automations. And now that you've built your automations, you need a place to deploy it. You need to run it, right? So like in order to execute it, like we will use the robot. And in order to deploy it, this is where the orchestrator comes in. So imagine that the orchestrator is going to be the place where you control and manage all these robots. Okay. And you are controlling the robots, but the robot is the software that actually executes these workflows. So these are the three major components that you need to know: the studio, orchestrator, and the robot. Okay. And like I said, even within Studio, now we have different flavors of Studio itself because it caters to different kind of users in terms of usage itself. So the basic, very beginner stage, I would say like Studio Web. So Studio Web is fairly a new product. And Studio Web is mainly for web-based automations. So where you can enable users to use like integrations into any kind of software that are available. You can connect and you can build automations just online. Okay. And with Studio X, it's mainly like task-based automations. So an immediate task that you would just like to build, like a quick productivity or like across just for your team, and you could use it for native desktop applications. That's where Studio X comes in. So Studio X is primarily for like citizen developers and the business folks that have like a quick and easy task that you would like to accomplish. You can use Studio X. And Studio is the complete package where you can build like complex automations. So this is where you would use like a template called robotic enterprise framework, where you could build like multiple workflows and you can tie them together in a specific state machine. So that way you build complex automations to accomplish what your business needs. Because most business processes doesn't just involve a simple task. It's an entire process, which is where the studio would require you to like have like a developer experience where you could build like advanced automations, and it has like basically a lot of error handling and debugging tools that are really helpful to build your automations. So first, like if you haven't set up your environment yet, I would say first step that you're going to do is go to cloud.uipath.com. Okay, I'm going to show you a simple demo here, and I will also show you how to use the studio itself. Okay, so let's exit out of here for a second. And I think I'll also exit out of here to show you how to sign up. Okay, so when you go to cloud.uipath.com, this is the landing screen that you would see if you haven't signed up to the UiPath environment. So all you could do is like you could use any of these accounts. So based on your email, like you could choose I use my personal email, so like I'm using my Google account. But if you do have like your enterprise account from your domain, from your company's domain, then you could use the SSO, which is the single sign-on. Or you could use like any of the Microsoft, or you can just go with like your email password. The advantage of using these accounts is that you don't have to type in the password every time. But if you do use the email, you would have to sign up. Okay, so I'll go with the Google since I'm using that, and I'm just gonna select my account. And then it'll ask you to give a name for your organization. I already gave my name, so I've just used my name, Priya Esteves. And it will take you to this landing page where you would see like all your different products that are available from the automation cloud. So we are going to use the cloud portal to access all the different tools that I talked about. Okay. So the very first thing, as you see, is like there are multiple tools that are available. So I'm going to show you the Studio Web first. Okay. So today we are going to look at like Studio Web and Studio. So that way, like you can just like have an idea um, how to install and work through it. So first I'll go with Studio Web. Okay. So if you just click on that S symbol, and I think it just signed me out because like I was logged in for too long. So as you can see, it'll just like take you to this page where the Studio Web is. And if you haven't built your automation using Studio Web, there are like over hundreds of templates that are available based on the process that you would like to automate. So if you're using any of the Google OneDrive, or like if you have like Asana or Jira or like SharePoint activities, you can always like look it up, like if your activities are available. So as you can see, there are simple tasks like onboard employee through Azure. So if you have like any ITSM task that you would like to accomplish, you could like just look up these processes that are currently available and use them to your benefit. Okay, and remember, some of them will require additional connections that you will have to just enable. But outside of that, you can build your own as well. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to build from scratch, so that like I've built one. So I'm just going to go through that. So I'm going to go to from templates. I moved over to the projects tab, which is where I'm going to build my own instead of using the templates. Okay. So you can click on new project, and it's going to ask you like, okay, what do you want? Like, do you want to schedule this automation or manual automation? In this case, I chose manual automation. Okay. And as you can see, you can connect with multiple different integrations that are available. So be it Salesforce or Twilio or Zoom or Zoho, Zendesk, be it anything, you could like find a connector for that. Okay. And also, as long as like you have access to work on that product, I think it should be available as well. And just a second, I'm just gonna pause for a moment. I'm sorry. I had to sneeze out of the blue. I'm sorry. So as you can see, like I chose the manual trigger. So from here, I haven't included any connections, but if you do want to add like any other connections, you could, okay? So if I want to automate on a website that I just want to like build a simple task, I could just say like use the use browser activity, and I'm gonna like keep on adding to it. So I'll show you a simple automation that I've already built just to run it really quick so that I can show you what it's capable of. Let's get it to studio. So, okay. So this is a very simple automation that I've built where I will just go to the finance.yahoo.com and I'm going to go to the crypto page and I'm just going to extract the table that's available there. Okay. So as you can see, this is the finance.yahoo.com page that has the crypto. So I'm going to go and see like if I can extract all this information and just put it in an Excel file in my in my OneDrive. Okay. So I've already enabled this connection and I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, so here we are, and I just use the manual trigger, and it's just gonna use the crypto. Okay, so I'm just gonna let it run. So I'm gonna test it here, and you will see on the right panel here, it's gonna give me the execution itself. So you will see the execution happening right here. It will show me a live stream. So there are three different options to put it on full screen or open it in a new tab. I'm just going to put it on a new tab so that we can like have a clear view of what the robot is seeing. So it's right now connecting to the live stream. And again, like hands off, I'm not doing this. It's the robot. So as you can see, it went into the finance.yahoo.com. It went into the crypto page and it's actually like trying to look for the entire table, and it's going to scrape off all that information, and it's going to extract that information, write it into an Excel file and put it on the OneDrive. So it did capture all of that. And on this right hand side on the output tab, you can see all the steps that it had run. Okay, so it will tell you like every single step ran successfully. And then like I had a log message to tell me like, okay, how many rows did you count? Like I only wanted the first 25 rows. So like it basically like took the 25 data, and let's go to my OneDrive here. So I have it on my demos. So as you can see, it's supposed to load. Okay. I just had to reload it, and it just like uploaded it less than a minute ago. So let's take a look at the file. So as you can see, I've extracted just 4 columns because that's what I configured it for. So I basically got the symbol, the text, the Bitcoin, and the price. Let's just check if the price is the same. So yep. And as you know, it keeps varying every single second, right? So 65, 863. So, yep, it got the data here. So, do you guys have any questions? All right. Looks like everybody understood. I love that. But if you do have any questions, please feel free to put it on the chat at any point in time, and I'll be happy to walk you through. Okay. So just let's take a quick view at like some of the activities and the things that I did, right? So as you can see here, I just added the manual trigger. And when I said like we should use the use browser, that way like I can capture the website itself. So I'm just going to show you in a new workflow here. So I'm just going to use the use browser just to show you like how to configure a couple of the activities. So as you use the browser, I'm just keeping that website that I want to interact with open so that it can capture which tab it wants to automate. So as you can see, it says select the tab to automate. Since I have this open, now I can like select which one I want to. So I selected that. Now it will give me like ways to interact with it. Okay, I can either click on it, I can either like, type into it. So whatever way that you interact with the website, those are the actions that you want to do. So since I wanted to type, or like if I wanted to like, click on it, you just type the same names. Okay, so you can just look for the click activity. So that's what is going to do the clicks. And if you say type into, it's going to look for the search bar or like wherever that you want to type, you just have to indicate. Okay, just for the sake of example, I'm just going to show you a quick click here. Okay, as you can see, it will say like indicate target on screen. So it's going to go to that specific website that we talked about. And now it's waiting for me to say like, where do you want me to click? Okay, let's say I just want to click here. Okay, or like to any of the menus that I want, like I can just select whichever one. And as you can see, it highlights. So this highlighting part is the one where it helps me with the selection of where I want to click. These are what we call as selectors. Okay, so this helps me select on like what I want to do. So let's say I'm just going to click here. So I see that the green box is there, which is where I want it. And then like it will tell me like, oh, do you want to add any anchors? Just making sure like, okay, it's right next to this, or like if you think like it's a moving target, then you may want to add anchors. In this case, it's a menu, so I'm not going to add anchors. I'm just going to click confirm. So that way it just clicks on it. So once it does select it, you can see that it also captures a quick screenshot of what it's clicking. Okay, so the same thing goes in for like the type into activities as well. Like you can just like select like where do you want to type. Like, so in this case, I'm just going to use this search bar right here. So I will just go say indicate on screen, and I will say like, okay, I'm going to select this part and I want to type in there. So I'm just going to confirm. Then it's going to ask me like, okay, what is it, the value that you want to type? So now I can type in the value that I wanted to add. Okay, let's say I just wanted to select like, I forgot the name, BTC. I don't know that crypto's name. So I'm just going to search for that BTC USD. So whatever the text that you want, like you can add it here. Okay. And also like it gives you like additional values that you can say like, oh, I also want to click enter, like how a human would do it, right? So as soon as we finish typing, we all have this habit of like either hitting enter or search or anything. So in this case, the same way, I can actually go to these three dots here, and I can just select it like type enter or like key in enter. So that way, as soon as it finishes typing that, it's just going to click it. Okay. The next important thing that I'm going to show you is how to use the extract table. Because like in our example, we basically like extracted this entire table into our Excel file, right? So let's see how to do that. So here, like I said, everything is like simple to very simple. It's just like simple plain English. So all you need to do is just like type extract, and you can see like all the different activities, but we are going to use this extract table data because that's what we are going to do. And now, and if you notice, like everything, every action that I'm doing is going to the same web page. It is because we use this container. So now this use browser is acting as like an overall container that holds on to all these activities. So this is basically encompassing like all the different activities and steps that I want to do based on the tab that I chose. Okay. So we are going to go here, and now it says select the data to extract. So where is the data that I want to extract? So I'm going straight for the data, not the title. Okay. So let's see here. I'm just going to use this one. As you can see, this is very intuitive tool that knows like it's super uh, interactive. So it basically tells you it's like, I'm super intelligent. I see that there is a table that I can extract rather than you basically selecting individual columns. So if I say yes, it's going to extract all the columns that are available on this table, and depends on your UI. So it depends on like how your website is being designed. It offers as a table or as like individual columns. So again, this one is like super intuitive. As you can see, it gives me all the different columns that were there, and it selected everything. And you can hit the preview just to see like how the data is being presented. And the same way that the table is available on that website, it's how it extracts here. Okay. So this is one way to do it. And then like once I hit confirm, it's going to get like all the different table. And unfortunately, there we go. There's the save and close. As soon as I hit save, it's going to give me all that table. Okay. And there's also this toggle here that tells you like if you want to extract table with multiple pages, because there are tables that we use on a day-to-day basis that has like different pages, right? So if I select this yes, then it wants to know where is the next button that I can click so that I can go get the next page, right? So up until like you get all the different pages on the table, so you can click save and close and you're gonna get the entire table. Another alternative to this is like, I just want just two columns out of this. I don't want the entire table. You can still do that. So we're going to start all over. I just went to this extract data table activity. I'm going to do the same thing, select data to extract. All right. Instead of selecting the entire table, I'm going to say no to this question so that I get to choose what columns I want. Okay. So in this case, it's asking me like, do you want the text or just the URL? In this case, I just want the text. So I'm going with that. And now I get to choose what's the name of the column that I want. Okay. So I'm going to put in the column and I'll hit confirm. I can simply preview. So as you can see, It just selected only the symbol that I wanted. Okay. And then now I want the second column, that what I want. I'm going to skip the name column. I'm just going straight for the price. Okay. So now I'll just put in the name. So again, I get to choose what data I pick and what's the name of the column. So you could name it like anything that makes sense to your business process. So if instead of price, if you're calling it rate in your process, you could just name it. So that way you don't extract the way that it's on the website, but according to your process. Okay. And again, the next multiple pages is also available if you want it. And as soon as I hit close here, it's going to give me the data over here. Okay. As you can see, we're just going to take a look at the options. There are different ways that you could configure this. And as you can see, the data table is now available in here. And the next thing that I did was write that data to an Excel file. Okay. So I had this table over here, right here. And this is the data table that I used as a variable. And this is what I'm writing in here. So now to do this right range, I'm going to use my OneDrive. Okay. So to do the writing, I'm just going to use the Excel. Okay. So what we do is we call it as right range. Okay. And again, you can interact with different types of sources that you want. Like I could use the OneDrive, the Microsoft, or like I could use the Google Workspace, where you could use the Google Drive to use the Google Worksheets or anything. In this case, I'm just going with Microsoft since I've already configured that one. And as soon as I put in the right range, it's going to pull that up. Okay, I'm just going to show you how to add a new connection. Okay, I've already got a connection, but if you haven't set it up like the first time, it doesn't show up anything here. So you just need to click on add connection, and then like it brings you to this page where you can connect. So just make sure that you're connected to your OneDrive website already, so that way it can easily authenticate. So in this case, I'm just going to click on connect, and it's going to ask you to put in your credentials based on what you're using, and you could set up to the specific OneDrive that you want. Okay, and the same goes for Google or like Zendesk. For any type of integrations that you want to do, for any type of connections that you want to make, you can always like set it up based on your credentials. And again, like as you know, that this is a simple task that you're building, so it's going to have the same level of access that you have. So again, this is just mimicking your actions, so it's not impersonating you or anything. It's basically like having the same level of actions that you would have. All right. Any questions so far?
You have a couple of questions. Does this function extract data tables works for any kind of websites?
Absolutely, it does. So, like I said, just go to the studio and like click on indicate on target and open that website, whatever that you want to interact with, and you can just test it out for yourself. It's definitely gonna work.
Thanks. And then the second question is, does Studio Web include some actions, activities that Studio does not, and vice versa? When would you decide to use web rather than desktop Studio?
So this is my personal favorite. Like you can say I'm biased. I personally love the desktop studio, okay? Mainly because like I can do like multiple different actions in terms of building complex websites. Because here, as you can see, like I can do like a single workflow. So it's basically just a sequence that I can just like, go along for a simple activity. But if I'm gonna like build like 100 steps, then it becomes like cumbersome to like, just manage this. So that's where like I feel like Studio Desktop is more versatile in terms of breaking down the process and making it like more modernized, and like it's more modular in terms of the workflows itself. But when it comes to Studio Web, it has a lot of access to the integrations. So like I said, the connectors that you could use with Studio Web is a lot. So it offers you a lot of these connections that you could like use. So Studio Web is like a quick entry into your automation world for your task, versus like Studio helps you like build more like solid ground, like complex automations. Hope that answers your question.
Great. And then just a couple more questions. When there are changes to the website screen, do the clicks have to be remapped to the screen?
I would say absolutely yes, Diana. So, in this case, like, see, as you can see, like, Yahoo Finance, actually, like, this happened to me last night. So, I'll be honest with you. So, I was actually working on this when I first built this automation. Like, I was directly going to the finance.yahoo page, and then, like, I would click on this crypto, but the Yahoo changed it to like a classic view versus this a new view. So, I had to go and remap like the click that I had to do. So if the website changes, that changes your perspective too, right? So when you come and the next morning the website is different, what would you do? You would go and click in a different location or like in a different page, right? So the same way the robot also needs that guidance to know like, oh, what do I do? Where do I go? Because like it needs to know like that the website has changed. So you might have to like make those little tweaks if your website is like constantly changing.
And then Jeremy just put something else in here that says one good example of one studio have that web doesn't is flow chart activity.
Exactly. So as you can see, what Jeremy is saying is that like when we built this in Studio Web, as you can see, this is pretty sequential. It's going like step by step, right? But if you use like Studio, like I said, it gives you like a versatile product that helps you build like a flowchart that gives you the visualization of what your automation does based on the decisions. And also like when you build complex automations, there's a lot of decisions that you will go back to, which is where the flowchart will really help, and also building using state machines because it gives you that RE framework, which has like inbuilt like exception handling, and it comes with like exceptional debugging tools. So which is really, really good to use Studio. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks. And I just wanted to ask a question of the audience too. If everybody could put in chat, how many have used Studio Web? I'm just curious. On the forum right now, we have a Studio Web activity that's good until April 5th for you to join. I'll put the URL in the chat as well, but it'd be nice just to know who's using Studio versus Studio Web.
Absolutely. There we go. We got Jeremy who's used it.
Yeah,
Nice.
good. That's nice to know. Thanks.
Fantastic. Okay, so we've got like a pretty good number that has like, citizen developer experience versus like developer experience. Yes, Jan. So you want to know if the Studio Web works with Salesforce? I would say yes. And again, like you would just have to establish the connection. So it's just going to have like the same level of, the actions that you would want. And in this case, like, let's say, I don't think I had it enabled. So, but you can always like use like, okay, what is the action that you want? In this case, like, you want to create an account. As you can see, these are the different activities that are available for Salesforce. So I currently don't have an account right now, or I don't have like an action or my credentials with Salesforce. So I won't be able to connect. But like if I were to add an activity that I want to use, like you could choose like any activity based on your process, and I'm just using this. So if I were to connect to Salesforce, it would ask you to authenticate based on your credentials. So in this case, like I don't have one, but if you were to connect, it's going to ask you to put in your credentials. So you could always use like any of the Salesforce activities here. But that's a very good question. All right, Diana just posted the link to this Studio Web Challenge. So if you have like a specific use case that you could think of for your scenario, you could actually submit that use case and you could win a exciting prizes there. And again, this is available all the way till April 5th, I guess, which is probably the end of the week. So you could participate in this using the link that Diana has provided.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
So please feel free. And this is like a great start with Studio Web. So just a second, sorry. All right, so that's a great start with Studio Web. But if you want to download and use Studio itself, I would say just go to the automation cloud, which is just the cloud.uipath.com. And on the right hand side, you would see the download Studio. And again, here's another catch with the Studio versus Studio Web is that I'm currently on a Mac machine, so I can't download Studio on my machine. So I will have to use a simulation to use a virtual machine to use the Studio. Okay. So in that case, which is where the Studio Web would help me build a simple task. Okay, so if I were to download Studio, all you have to do is just go to this right side where you would see download Studio, and it's gonna download on your Windows machine, and where you could choose either what profile you want to choose. You could use either Studio or Studio Web. So I'll show you in just a second. Sorry. Just a second. A lot of things here. Just a second. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull up my virtual machine here. It kind of restarted. But if you can, if you'd like to install Studio, I would say just go to that download Studio, and it should be able to install it on your machines. Okay. And I'm sorry, my machine's kind of slow as well. So if you do have any questions around downloading Studio, and it's pretty straightforward. All you need to do is just click on it and just install that software. And it's gonna connect you with a robot. And the very first time you install, it's just gonna ask you what's the name of the robot that you'd like to give. So it's pretty cool stuff that you can actually install your Studio. And I'll probably show you what the Studio looks like. So here we go. Nope. No, not right now. Sorry, my machine just decided to do a fresh install. I'm just gonna show you this part. Sorry, guys. Please bear with me. I'm gonna share my screen again. Yeah, my Windows machine just decided to do everything as a fresh machine, like a fresh install of OneDrive and everything. Sometimes it happens, okay? So once you install Studio and let's say you've connected, all I did was just click on a brand new, clean new process and just create a new process. And this is how you will see. And I'm sorry that I have it in a dark mode because I love using the dark mode. But in general, you should have a lighter screen. So it's gonna give you this landing page. This is like your base process, okay? So if you see on this left-hand side, you would see the activities panel where you would have 300 plus activities that are available for you to build your automations, okay? And right here on the top ribbon where you see the home, design, and debug, right there you see this new button. So if you were to click right there, it's going to ask you do you want a new sequence or a flow chart or a state machine, which is where you have options to build what type of workflow do you want to build. Because a sequence is where you build a sequence of steps where there's not a lot of decisions going on, or you cannot see it visually what's going on. But if you were to build a flow chart, that gives you a visual representation of your process itself. Let's say there are multiple decisions that you're taking and you're going back. If this decision fails, that's where the flowchart becomes really beneficial in terms of easy readability. So anybody, let's say you build a process right now, and 6 months down the lane, you hand off that process to someone else, and that person is newly joined in the team. So it becomes very easily readable for that person, even without a lot of documentation. He doesn't have to go through 16 pages of documentation to understand what the business process is. He can just look at the flow chart and understand, okay, these are the steps, or like this is what my business process does, which is where like it's really, really imperative to use, like if you're building complex processes, use flow charts or state machines for that matter. But if you're building like simple automations, you could have like pretty simple sequences. And I would say like for each modular step or a specific set of sequential actions that you're using, build like separate workflows. So in this case, let's talk about the layout. On the on the left hand side, you have the activities panel, which has like over 300 activities you can pick and choose from. And if you want additional activities on the top ribbon, you can just click on manage packages, and you could look up like UiPath's official activities, or there are like other third party offered like activities as well that you could just download from and use those activities. And in the center area is your designer panel, which is where you will be like designing your processes. So this is going to be your base canvas where you're going to be like building or throwing in all the activities and the configuration and everything. Okay. And on the right hand side, you see the properties panel. So this is where for each activity, you can specify what configuration you want. You want like certain values, certain actions, certain default values that you want to set. That's where the properties panel will come in. Okay. Any questions? Oh, that's about the competition. Perfect. Okay, so the question was about the competition. Thanks, Diana. You've got that. So any questions with Studio so far? And we already saw the demo with the crypto. So that was the demo that I was holding off. So I know we are all like, I mean, you guys are starting with UiPath and learning how to build your automation and how to build your career in automation. So these are some of my favorite resources that are available with UiPath, which you could use to build your strong foundation. Okay, so the first one is the UiPath Academy. So now that you've got your connections, as soon as you've connected to the cloud.uipath.com, that credentials also gives you access to all these different platforms that are available within UiPath. So it's going to use the same credentials. Using the same thing, you can just access the Academy forum and the marketplace and community. So first, the Academy. It's a free learning platform that gives you like all the different courses. So if you want to start with like your first automation and everything, you can just learn about like the automation starter or the automation explorer, and you can like start off with some of the basic courses, learn about like the first developer's plan. If you're aspiring to become a developer or a business analyst, there are different course plans that you could choose, and pick and choose the courses that you would like to take. And again, this is for free. So you could like take these courses at any point in time, and like like you could just take it like while you're on transit and like learn and come back home and practice. And I would say like one thing that makes you stronger is like practical action. One thing is like taking these courses, but putting those skills to action is what is going to help you build your stronger foundation. So always use the Academy because it's going to have the latest course based on the latest releases of the products. Okay. And the second, my favorite tool to use is the forums. Okay. The forums is an open, like an open communication that you can have with the community, where you can share like, okay, what are the questions that you have? Because like building your first automation can sometimes be overwhelming. And like if you're building complex automations and you hit a wall and you have a question that you're afraid to ask, like feel free to use the forums. Okay. Just post a screenshot of what the error or what the issue that you're facing with, and post like a detailed description of what your problem is, and you can specify like what tools you're using like within UiPath. So that way like people, there are like over 80,000 community members that are across the globe that are available to help you with your problem. So one person or the other, and these are like across different time zones, right? So if one person's not available, someone else is going to answer your question and help you come up with multiple solutions, because like there's not just one simple solution, right? So you can have different approaches to the same problem. And feel free to use the forum to the very best extent, because that's the best place where you can find like the fantastic solutions. And that's the best way to like also connect with your peers in the UiPath community as well. And the marketplace is like a free marketplace that offers you like good starter packs and like good activities or reusable components that are available, which are like built by UiPath and authorized by UiPath and sometimes by third parties, but are still monitored by UiPath. So you can actually like use those activities so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time for your business process. You could use like something that's already built and available and just like plug into your system and see like how you can configure it for your environment and make it work. Okay. And the UiPath community, which is how I believe that you guys landed right here. So use this community.uipath.com, which is going to be like pretty helpful in finding other such informative like sessions or like any type of local meetups that you want to have, and connect with like your local chapters and see like who else is doing UiPath and what are the industry standards that they are using. This helps share the best practices across like the other community members, so that like even if you're virtual, you want to attend virtual session, this is the best place to sign up like for other events that are available. So I would say like take a screenshot of this, make use of this, because this is a really, really good platform where you could use all the different resources for free. All right. Any questions? Xiang. Okay. Will the demo be available? Okay. I will try to export that. I'm gonna see like how to do it with Studio Web. So like I'll see if I can export it. But if not, it's pretty simple. But Xiang, if you're if you really want to build another one, I can even like help you build one. So don't worry about that. I will try to export it. Okay. So this is me, Priya, and yeah, Tracy's not here today, but she's another UiPath MVP as well. So we both have been like a five-time MVP. So feel free to connect with us at any point in time, and we'll be like happy to help you with any of the processes or any of the products. And if we don't know the answer, don't worry, like we'll find the answer and get back to you as well. I'll open the floor for any questions if you guys have.
So there is, will the demo still be available after this meeting?
Yeah.
Yes, it takes about a day to record everything and get it posted to the website. And I can repost that information into the chat. There we go.
All right.
Yeah, and then I also posted in chat our meeting later this week. So you guys make sure you grab all the information out of the chat in order to get that information. And then any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. And Priya, if you could just stay on for a minute.
Sure.
Thanks.
Thank you everyone for
Uh-huh.
joining, and feel free to join our next sessions as well. We have like a whole lineup of series here.
Yeah, thank you, Priya. Great session today.